how color vision and Irlen syndrome could be effectively treated for survivors, specifically for survivors of brain injury. And so please join me in giving a warm brain injury welcome to Susan Hughes from Irlen Visions. Yeah!
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I am going to start by giving you how Irlen began and a little bit about the beginning of Irlen. And as I get into it, I'm going to talk more about how it helped. I have Sandy Toster from Irlen Center has given me a video of a study that Semper Fi did on brain injured soldiers, very severely brain injured soldiers, and using Irlen glasses as a method of resolving their problems. And I also have a couple of little brief 1-minute videos from 2 of my brain injured clients talking about how much difference it made in their lives. So that's sort of the overview of what I'm going to be doing today. Helen Irlen was a school psychologist, and she was a school psychologist for 19 years, and she felt that schools were asking the wrong questions when they tested students. They were testing them to see what they knew and what they didn't know, but they never asked why. What was going on that made it difficult? And I have found, as I work with brain injured people, frequently they had a little bit of Irlen syndrome before their brain injury. They were learning to compensate and get around it, but learning to read was harder. They already were getting a little bit of headaches or migraines when they were young. However, I have some people who had absolutely no symptoms till after their brain injury, and then their symptoms were severe. So I'll just tell you a little bit about the progress. So Helen Irlen was a school psychologist, and she was very verbal about the fact that year after year, she would test students and qualify them for special education. And in special education, they would get smaller classes, more help, teachers who were trained to work with students who found it very hard to learn. And year after year, she would come back and the same students were in special education. They never learned it all and got back into regular education. She said, something's going on that mean that these children spend their entire life in special education once they've qualified. And so she's in Long Beach, and in Long Beach, she was with Long Beach School District, but Long Beach University got a grant for a 4-year grant in 1980 to find a cure for dyslexia in adults. And they asked Helen Irlen if she would direct the project. So the first thing she did was came up with a series of simple tasks and did a lot of observation and question asking. She interviewed 1,500 people and had them do her tasks. And she interviewed that many because she constantly got new information. It wasn't until she had 1,500 she felt she was starting to get a repetition, a repeating of the. And so she categorized all those 1,500 people into 38 different types of things. And we found a lot more since then. And she chose 35 of them who had a lot of symptoms. They had physical symptoms, visual symptoms, and they had it all going on. And she invited them to be part of her project. And the 35 of them were going to meet, I think, monthly for the next 2 years. And she was going to try everything out there that was to see what really made a difference to their struggles. And their part of the job was to do what they were told. If they were told to do a certain exercise, they would do it. If they were told to eat special foods, they would do it. If it was cranial manipulation, they would do it. They would cooperate on all these things. So the first thing she did is she went to everyone in the AMA, someone who had a doctor after their name. And she had them, all her 35 people tested. So they all saw a neurologist, a psychologist, a behavioral psychologist, a psychiatrist, an ophthalmologist, a pediatric ophthalmologist. They were tested by these people. None of them made a difference to her clients. So she decided at this point, the AMA has nothing that would help students who are still struggling with reading and headaches and things like that when they were learning. So then she looked at all the alternatives that were out there. She had her clients do brain gym. She had them do vision exercises, eye exercises, to see if some of them had stronger eye muscles, so could compensate a little bit in that they could last longer before they crashed with their struggles. She did cranial sacral manipulation. She did all kinds of physical things, frosting, balancing on balance beams, crawling, all these things that people had come up with. And one day when she was about a year into the project, she came to class and she had a red lens and a green lens on a little piece of cardboard and a red sheet of plastic. And she had them all try this. And one person in the class said, "My words stopped moving." And so they all went and crowded around this person. If that person had been missing, she would not have discovered this. But anyway, that person was there and they crowded around and discovered that what helped her words stop moving was the sheet of red plastic on her words. So even though it helped no one else, it made her think maybe color has something to do with this. So by the time she met with them the next time, she had gathered all the plastic, colored plastic she could, they make covers for books out of it. You can find cellophane. Anyway, she found all the different colors of plastic and played around with it. And she realized she was onto something. So she worked with color scientists, color theorists, and she came up at that time with just 5 colors. This was back in 83, 84, 82, 83, sorry. And she brought it back to her class and they were really excited because she was really calming their page that they were looking at. And in doing that, it was calming their vision, their visual thing. And now she has 10 layers of colors for overlays. But one of her clients said to her, "We wish we could put this on glasses because this only works on the page. And we have to look at whiteboards and we have bright sunshine and everything is too much for us." So she working again, she came up initially with enough colors to make 150 options. Now I have a box of colors with 70 different color variations and doubles in at least a third of them. If people mix 2 colors, I have 5,400 options for them. If they layer 3 colors, I have 340,000 options. If we get to 7 layers, I'm at 1 trillion options, and at 8 layers at 1 quadrillion. And the person who had the complex computer who was working out with me how many colors you could make from 70 colors, knowing you could double and triple just 1 color as well, he didn't have enough numbers to go beyond 1 quadrillion on his computer, but that gives you an idea. Most of my clients use from 2 to 6 layers, but I have about 20% of my clients who go more than 10 layers, and one that went to 19 layers and 3 different colors. So it takes a good while to do this. There are Irlen diagnosticians all over the world. They're in 47 different countries. Millions of people use the colored overlays, and hundreds of thousands now are wearing the glasses. So this started back then. And she said, now I know what will help. I'm going to spend the next few years doing research, and then I'll come out with it to the public. However, it escaped her. she was one of her 35 people that she'd put in glasses, went to Hong Kong and accidentally bumped into someone who worked for Australia 60 Minutes. And he got very excited about her glasses. And he came back and he interviewed many of her students. And then he went to Helen Irlen and he said, we're going to do a 60 Minutes on your glasses. At that time, they called them scotopic sensitivity glasses. But that is a misnomer because the scotopic part of light is the darkness. And this is about brightness. People who are bothered by light sensitivity and headaches and migraines, particularly painful eyes, all those things. So she started out just working with people with dyslexia or learning problems. She didn't have any idea it would help anyone else. And I'm going to do a little imagery with you, just so you'll experience back then, and we'll take it from there. So what I would like you to do right now, all of you, is shut your eyes and get yourself as comfy as you can in your chairs. As you shut, start breathing slowly in and out of your nose. And as you're breathing in and out of your nose slowly, notice if you have any tight places and sort of try and breathe into those places so they loosen up a little. You can, if it doesn't hurt you, you can stretch your head a little or roll your shoulders a little if that bothers you. And some people with injuries can't do that. So don't do it if it's going to start something worse. But just sit back in your chair and get very, very comfortable. Get your breathing slow and regular. Just in and out, if possible through your nose, if not in through your nose and out through your mouth. But it's even better to breathe in through your nose and out through your nose, just very slowly and quietly. And now I want you to remember back to when you were a little kid in school. You were about 9 or 10 years old. Just remember being in that classroom. The lights are bright and you're at a little desk. And when you put your head in the desk, the teacher tells you to sit up. And you're sitting there and you've been told it is reading time. And you're going to be allowed to read any book you chose out of the classroom library for half an hour. You got to pick the book and you're sitting there with your book. And it's like,
Attic, where the sidewalk ends.
yes, okay, that's a good one. Just imagine you got where the sidewalk ends or whatever you like. So keep your eyes shut and imagine you're starting to read a book you like. But as you begin, you get bothered by those big lights over your head. And your eyes begin to sting a little bit or even burn. So you squint your eyes tight to shut out the bright light. After a few minutes, both your eyes begin to hurt and feel uncomfortable. Many students try and lean over their book so they make it all shady. And your teacher says, sit up. So you sit back up. And then you hold a hand over your head to shade your eyes to stop that bright light getting you. You wish you were allowed to wear a baseball cap in class to shade your eyes from those bright lights. And even better would be a hoodie because that totally surrounds your face and really shades you. And you start looking with your eyes shaded from your hand and your print begins to blur in and out in a focus. And soon it feels almost like a pulsing pattern. Many word-blind readers then see the words begin to turn over like a wheel going round the page, and it begins to swirl. You shut your eyes tight and look away and give yourself a minute. And the teacher says, on task. So you open your eyes and you look back at the book, and it's okay for a second or two, but then the words and lines of print start to stack on top of each other or even separate, and you see rivers of space run down through the words. The words slide sideways and they come back together. Your letters begin to flicker or shimmer or blink on and off. The insides of your words fade away and then return, and you can't tell whether they're O's or A's or E's in the middle. They look like holes. Sometimes whole words start sliding off the page, and at a certain point, the lines ripple up and down like a flag waving. You lean down close to the page with your nose almost touching, and then you lean back away from the page to see if that will help. You shut your eyes a lot, but you have to open them when the teacher's looking. You lift the book up close to your face and put it above you and put it in and out, trying to make those words stay still. Your body starts to shift and turn in different directions, so you can see the book from different angles. After a few minutes, a headache starts to develop across your forehead, and then it moves to your temples. And if you keep really trying to read, you often get a headache all the way to the back of your head and down your neck. And as the words move more and more, you begin to fidget and squirm and glance away. And when the teacher sees your parents next, they say, "We think he or she has ADHD. They just can't stay on task. They are wiggling around on their seats." So now I want you to open your eyes. How many people here, raise your hand, were that child? Is there anyone here was that child who struggled to read? I see some hands. Since you got your brain injury, are you that person? Is that how reading is now? Yes. And reading is not the worst of your issues. You would stop reading if you didn't have the headaches, the migraines, and all the pain. So now I want to tell you that Helen Irlen started working with students, both college-age students and little kids, and having them tested for the overlays by a screener or for the glasses by a diagnostician. But people started saying to her, "I'm wearing these glasses and it really helps my reading, but my headaches have gone." Oh, this was new information. She wasn't realizing she was going to help the headaches go away. "I've not had a migraine. I'm not getting migraines like I used to." So then someone would say, "I'm not so anxious." Writing is easier. All sorts of things started to come out about what was easier. And as a diagnostician, I find myself helping more and more different kinds of people. There was a woman called Donna Williams, who was an autistic savant, who got herself, signed up and got the glasses, and she started spreading the word that it helped autism. And so now we find quite a few autistic people are helped. Some people found their seizures lessened or even stopped. And several people started to feel that their concussions, the symptoms from their concussions and their head injuries would start to subside. So I'm going to show you a little bit more now. I'd like to screen share a little bit more about Irlen. One thing we know about Irlen, it's not about your eyes. It's about your brain. It's totally about your brain. So this isn't a vision issue where you can get a prism or a different prescription. Sometimes you need that as well. Many people get their prescription in the correct material, and then we can add color to them. But we have a really good, I think 70% of brain injured people who come to us find total or partial help. Many of them are so severe they need 3 different shades of color, and they're frequently dark. But I would like to screen share. How do I do that, Daniel? Do I just click on screen share? Yes, I do. Let's see if I can. So I'm going to show Sandy Toster. Helen, I think I'm in. She's Helen Irlen's daughter, and she works at the Irlen Institute. And I called her and I said, do you have a PowerPoint just for concussions and head injuries? And she had a fabulous one. So she sent it to me so I can use it. So this is Sandy Toster who put this together. She is Helen Irlen's daughter. And she has a PhD in psychology and lots of interest. And she's now the Director of Research Operations at the Irlen Institute International Headquarters. So she says, this is hers. The headache is one of the most, and let me put you so you can see down the side. So is that better? Can you see better with that then? A headache is one of the most common complaints in patients with traumatic brain injuries. Even mild traumatic brain injury or concussion can cause lingering problems, including headaches, difficulty concentrating, irritability, and memory issues. Let me make some people putting things in chats. Oh, that's one of my sweet ladies who just sent me a message who had a real bad head injury and who now has 3 different colors. And I'm going to be rechecking her colors soon, I mean. Concussion is a mild traumatic brain injury, usually occurring after a blow to the head. Loss of consciousness isn't required for a diagnosis of concussion or post-concussion syndrome. The risk of post-concussion syndrome doesn't appear to be associated with the severity of initial injuries. I want to tell you that I have helped people who've been dropped on their head when they were babies, who have, where's all my list of things they've had? Have had an iron bar come out of the wall in a gym and knock them out, have had bricks drop on their head. One girl was rock climbing and the person above her lost their grasp and landed on their head with their thick cobbly shoes. They've been in car accidents, ATV accidents, sports injuries, and a lot with military injuries. I had one that was shot in, 3 people who've been shot in one eye and lost vision in one eye that have come to me. And most of them have had complete help, and some of them still have some symptoms, but way, way less. Okay, so symptoms of concussion, most of you are familiar with these: headaches, dizziness, lightheadedness, nausea and vomiting, light sensitivity, blurred vision, slurred speech, confusion, loss of some coordination, memory loss, tiredness, irritability, difficulty thinking or focusing, and loss of consciousness. And I've had a lot of people who get double, triple, or even 4 visions. They see 4 of everything. Complex disorder, in where various symptoms such as headaches and dizziness last for weeks and sometimes months after injury. And I've had people who've had the injuries 20 years ago get relief. The symptoms occur within the first 7 to 10 days and go away within 3 months, but they can persist for a year or more. These are things they do to help themselves. They rest, they remain home till they can tolerate 30 minutes of light, and they gradually return until they can handle 45 minutes, and they're considered fully recovered after 2 weeks. But many people, this does not happen. They get evaluated for post-concussion syndrome, academic accommodations, altered class schedules, and they have modifications and a 504 plan if they're in school. Now, you can get Irlen genetically, and 80% of people who have Irlen have one or both parents with Irlen, or at least someone in their family. It passes down a lot. But you can also acquire Irlen. You can acquire it. The biggest one are brain injuries. Another one is a very difficult birth or gestation. I've had people who've had the most amazingly difficult births and survived. Polychemical drug use, which is one of the ways they calm people who they think have ADHD by giving them amphetamines. which Ritalin is an amphetamine. So certain high fevers and certain diseases like meningitis and seizures and things like that are ones that can be acquired. And it affects light sensitivity, reading problems, headaches and migraines, their strain and fatigue, the distortions on the page, their depth perception gets affected, their attention and concentration gets affected. And for people who have brain injuries, they have the same as this, but just way more severe. We had to learn extra tricks to help people with brain injuries. Some of them I test in a blacked out room with sunglasses on. I've even tested with a black mask on their face in a blacked out room, and they can feel the color through it if they're very, very severe. Usually after 3 or 4 layers, we can remove the blind or remove the sunglasses, and gradually we open the blinds as they can tolerate the light. But this has all happened in the last 10, 15 years as we became more aware we could help. You want me to look in the chat?
No, I was just letting you know in case I didn't get to stay.
Okay. Hi, Larice.
Hi, sweetheart. And I just wanted to show so that everyone could see the colors, if they can see the 9 colors in my first set that you got me.
Okay.
So love everyone.
Thank you. So a success story here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, she was the one who told Daniel about me. But anyway, it impacts your whole body. Just because it's a brain injury doesn't mean it's only your head hurting. When you have abnormal brain function, you not only get headaches and eye strain, you get tense neck, back and shoulders, shallow labored, quickened breathing. You can get nausea, small and gross motor integration problem, and definitely fatigue. It affects your autonomic nervous system, your sense of balance. Your immune system gets suppressed, so you're more likely to get other things. Your endocrine system is out of balance. That's your hormones. Your emotional, behavioral, and psychological implications are definitely out of balance. You look like you have ADHD. You have depth perception, sensory integration, difficulty sleeping, and visual fragmentation. All these things can happen. You can have them all, or you could have one of them. And one of them badly is very severe. This is from Daniel Amen. Daniel Amen thought this was a huge scam. He'd never heard of anything so ridiculous as putting color in front of your eyes to fix all these problems. So he set out to prove that we were a scam. So this is a 16-year-old boy that came to him and who told him the glasses really made a difference. So he had the boy remove the glasses and he did a SPECT scan of the brain. A SPECT scan is when you inject into the vein a dye, and then it colors all the cerebral fluid. And with this scan, you can see all the fluid in the brain. The cerebral fluid is like the blood in your brain. And so here you see this one that I'm circling. And this is a very hot brain. This is a brain on fire, or a ring of fire. He had the boy put the glasses on, and within an hour, he did another scan. And here was what people, as they are trying on the glasses, feel calmer. They just feel the energy getting better, they're calmer. I'm going to show you a few more examples besides Larice before we're through here. So here, this is a study done by Semper Fi, who are the fraternity for Marines, who are active Marines. And so here's the study they did. So that they were looking at traumatic brain injuries and concussions. Most of these people they worked with were military or athletes. They had headaches and migraines, cognitive difficulties, emotional and behavioral changes, and here's their results. So this is the study. That's very hard to read because it's tiny, but they've done it. They started with 178 combat-related traumatic brain injuries or concussions. All of them were medically resistant. They had headaches and migraines, and they had received no help from all the medical things they tried. They were referred for Irlen spectral filters, which is the fancy name for the Irlen colored glasses. They did a questionnaire at the beginning, and they wore their filters for 1 to 3 months, and then they did a post questionnaire. This is Semper Fi. They were ranked from captain to lance corporal, commander to corpsman. Their ages varied from 23 to 60 years old. Most of them were married with families. They served in Iraq and or Afghanistan. They had combat-related traumatic brain injury or concussions. And they had sometimes all of these and sometimes one. Migraines, photosensitivity, high anxiety, depression, PTSD, insomnia, and physical pain. All the medical evaluation and diagnosis was performed by military medical staff. So this is an example. There were 178 of them, and I told you they had all their things had not responded to medications or other treatments. They tried one or more of the following to treat their headaches and migraines. So here's the percent. They tried sunglasses, 100% did that. Migraine medication, 78%. Alpha stem, I'm not quite sure what that is, but I have a feeling it's some kind of injections into the brain stem. Acupuncture, meditation, I don't know what OTC is, but headache medicine, vestibular therapy, yoga, optical RX, prescriptions, chiropractic treatments, healing touch, massage therapy, Botox injections, neurofeedback, transitional lenses and colored lenses from eye doctors, where eye doctor messes around with it, radio frequency abrasions, hyperbaric chambers, and occupational therapy. I'm sure these are all different things that many of you have tried.
OTC would be over the counter, just so you know.
Say that again?
Over the counter medications, over the counter.
Yes. Yeah, they don't have that one down. Okay. Good. Okay, sorry, I'm just looking at the chat again. Let's get it out. Just want to make sure I'm not missing a question. Okay, so this is the pre-post questionnaire. No problem to considerable problem. And they asked them about all these things: headaches, migraines, light sensitivity, reading, physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, attention, concentration, depth perception, driving, sports performance, marksmanship, general perception, fatigue, memory, math computation, handwriting copy. I'm reading it out because some of you, it's hard to read, I know. Balance and coordination, tracking moving objects, listening, watching TV, movies, playing video games. And we also wanted to know how frequent the headaches and migraines were and what the medications were. This was the impact test, designed to capture the impact of headache and its treatment on an individual's health and well-being. Okay, was administered pre and post. The people, there were 60 plus people who had severe impact, 56 to 59 substantial impact, 55 some impact, and 49 or less little or no impact. That one is really tiny. So they got to say, when did they have headaches? How often? Never, rarely, sometimes, very often, always. Okay. And there was a 2 to 3 diagnostic assessment to determine their individual color. No two subjects have exactly the same color. It takes 2 to 3 hours to test you, because everyone's color, with the number of colors I can pick from, we have to have the perfect color for you. And out of all the people that Irlen had sent to their lab in 1 year, 80% were unique colors. No one had them before. Only 20% had a color that was similar to another person. So your color becomes your own color. They're worn all the time, even at night. Do you wear yours at night, Louise? I doubt it. I never knew that until I saw this. They do not alter the color of the environment. When you look through them, you don't see the color. It makes your colors more vibrant and more 3D, better depth perception. But white is still white. And you have follow-up evaluations at 1, 2, and 3 years. The key results, 1 would be to eliminate photophobia, 2, dramatic reduction in frequency of migraines, 3, reduction in migraine medication use. Additionally, there were improvements in reading, depth perception, driving, physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, attention and concentration, and fatigue. So here they are pre, severe impact 90%, substantial 9%, little or no 1%. Here after wearing the glasses, this is 78 people. The no impact were 91%, severe were 5%, substantial 1%, some 3%. So out of all of these people, 91% were totally helped. And then another 1% was substantially, and there were 5% that were not helped. They still had it severely. Okay. Here's the score pre, and here's post. Severe impact up here, little or no impact down here. With pre, 67 of those 78 people were severely impacted. With post, 41% were little or no impact. Score range, the maximum was 78, the minimum was 36, okay? The average number of migraines per month, pre 22, post 1. Percent of time headaches are experienced. All the time by 94%, post 3%. Sometimes 6%, post 23%. Never 0%. This is good, I guess. All the time, yeah, okay. The differences are significant, as you can see. All the time, and now I'm not quite understanding this. Never had it, and 74%. I think this means they don't have it if they're in the post, but I'm not sure on that one. Sandy was involved in the testing. So here, prescription meds, they would take 68 doses a month, post 14 doses. Over the counter, 33%, post 1%. 1%, sorry, not 1%. Physical symptoms, light sensitivity, migraines. You can see how much this is totally down from these. Dizziness, nausea, stomach aches, feeling depressed. So much, much less. Activities that cause them difficulties. Reading, sleep, general. There was still a lot of sleep in here. Didn't solve all the sleep problems. I have a lot of other things that solve sleep problems. Mostly to do with what you eat. But anyway, and how late you eat it. But you can see all these different tasks: general perception, night driving, computer, job performance, math computation, listening, copying, driving, paper and pencil tasks, watching TV or movies, tracking moving objects, marksmanship, playing video games, depth perception, balance, coordination. You can see other than sleep problems, they all went down a lot. Percent of improvement. Here's the pre-figure. The post figure is inside. So here's light sensitivity. The post decreased by 98%. Driving, 98% were incredibly helped. Eye strain. This is the amount of improvement. Who improved? Here we've got depth perception, reading, nausea, headaches, migraines, dizziness, anxiety, fatigue. A lot of them were really helped. And here's some people. This is Sergeant Joshua Clark. They're a godsend. They're amazing. I don't know how to put in words how well they work. They're lifesavers. The Irlen filters work wonders. I feel like a new person. They make a huge difference. The change is very dramatic. My speech has improved. My ability to pull my thoughts together is much better. I'm able to read now. My moods are much more level. I'm calm, happy. I'm not blowing up. I'm not explosive. It's easier to go to sleep, even though PTSD affects the number of times I woke up. I've been in vestibular therapy because I was dizzy all the time. I asked to be reevaluated with my Irlen filters, and I got a perfect score, meaning I no longer have a problem. I no longer am angry or have outbursts. My ability to focus and concentrate is amazing. My confidence level has greatly improved. I'm a lot calmer. I'm more relaxed. I'm not as nervous. I'm doing way better. In general, life has gotten easier, better, and less painful. The changes are miraculous. He's made more improvement in the past month with his Irlen filters than he made in the past 4 years. And for severe clients, we modify the screening. We turn off the lights. We modify the lighting to dim the environment. We usually only do one task. This is for screeners. And we rate the discomfort all the time to make sure that you don't get up to a 7. And Helen Irlen has written a book called Sports, Concussions, and Getting Back into the Game of Life, which reads for all concussions. She started off with sports, and then they did this study. Semper Fi, if you are a veteran, Semper Fi now gives, I want to click it out, but I can't get in there to click it out. Okay, Semper Fi gives, let me get this out of the way and then I'll feel. They give scholarships to wounded warriors since 9/11. They will pay total cost of Irlen lenses, including the vision test with the eye doctor to make sure you have the right thing. And they pay for the Irlen testing, the testing from the eye doctor, and they pay for 2 pairs of wrap lenses and all the tinting that is done, which is an amazing scholarship. Sandy Toster told me that as of today, they have helped 600 veterans, wounded warriors, to get the glasses. I want to be able to get under here to that's what I want. I want that X. I want to show you something else, and that is, we know that the putting color in front of the eyes changes the timing from the back of the retina to the brain, and in doing so calms the brain. I want to show you 2 of my clients. I have an Irlen Visions Facebook, and I also have a nonprofit group called Irlen Ambassadors, and I raise money to pay the lab fees for glasses. So this lady here is Jasmine.
Hi there, my name is Jasmine, and I'm doing this video to tell you how Irlen lenses have changed my life. I am a total and permanent disabled veteran from the Air Force. I served for 10 years, and I have a brain injury from my service. And although there are some programs out there that help veterans with Irlen lenses, for some bizarre reason, they only help veterans who were injured after 9/11, and my injury occurred before 9/11. So I can't get any assistance with the lenses. But thankfully, my amazing diagnostician, Susan Hughes, has an incredible network of people, and she organizes and raises funds to help people like me who really can benefit from scholarship. So this year, a scholarship has helped me get 2 pairs of my 3 pairs of glasses that I need for my quality of life. This is my lightest pair. As you can see, my base color is a brown. This is what I wear in low light settings. The pair I'm wearing right now are my medium pair. This is what I wear in more of a normal light situation. And then I have a very dark pair that I wear in bright light situations. The biggest thing that Irlen has helped me with has been depth perception was the first thing I noticed. I stopped running into so many things. I used to have bruises on my shoulders all the time from running into walls that I just couldn't seem to stop running into. So that has lessened. Although my migraines are not gone, they are greatly improved from wearing the lenses. It allows me to be on the computer for longer periods of time, able to read, especially helping with reading to my 7-year-old son. I was really struggling with parts of the page, parts of the text being blank, and now I can read better to my son. So it just, overall, it's such a quality of life improvement, and I'm just so grateful, and I feel so blessed for the support that Susan Hughes has given me, and for this amazing program that you guys have in helping people who just need a little bit of help in order to get these lenses, and it really does make an improvement in quality of life. So that's my story, and I hope it helps somebody else, and I hope it helps you see how beneficial it can be to people like me. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Okay, and I've got one more gentleman. This young man that I'm going to show you now was, they came to me because, whoops, we don't want you. Let me switch this one off. He came to me, he'd been in a dark room for 12 years after an ATV accident at the age of 15. His name is Zachary.
Hi, I'm Zachary. I want to tell you about how Irlen's glasses.
Just to say, we didn't get sound on the last video, and we can't hear this one either.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Since I was 15.
Okay, well, that's no point in showing you it. If
My body always.
you didn't get the sound from Jasmine.
No, it put the words up.
I heard it.
Yeah, I tried.
This one is just very low.
I heard it
disappear immediately.
very well.
Rebound into worse pain. But 5 months ago, by the grace
Is
of
this still too low?
I was told for the first time.
Yes, sorry about that.
Okay, well, I'll just tell you about him. But anyway,
extreme case.
I'll just tell you about him. Zachary was and if you want to see it, if you go to irlenvisions.com on my Irlen Visions Facebook, that's my business is Irlen Visions. If you go to Irlen Visions Facebook, then you can go on there and you can click on the videos and you can open up Zachary's talk all on your own. You don't have to do it here. But anyway, Zachary was 15 when he had a bad ATV accident, which left him in such bad shape. He couldn't go to school. He couldn't participate in social events with he stayed in a dark room. They tried many, many things for him. Occasionally had slight help, but it would only last a very short while. And when he came to me, he was 26. He'd been in that dark room for most of his life, for 12 years, and he just couldn't come out of it. And we needed 3 different colors of black. You know, I tested him by letting him wear 2 pairs of sunglasses and testing over the top. When we got 3 shades of my color on, we could remove his glasses and then we could get the right color on. Initially, we did 1 color and he came back a month later. I do a free recheck within 3 months. He came back within 3 months and we made a light color for very low light, a lighter color, not a lot lighter, and a really dark one so he could go outside. Now he can participate in all kinds of things. He can join family things. He can go back to school. He never went to school after the age of 15. He couldn't read. He couldn't watch TV. Basically, the only thing he could do was listen. And he couldn't, even bringing in people to talk to him was overwhelming to him. He was basically sort of trapped like in a prison in this little dark room that was totally blacked out. And he has his life back. I said to him as I was testing him, you can learn to drive a car now. Or you could go back to school. Is there anything you'd like to do? He said, for so many years, I thought I would never be free of this. I had given up all my hope. So anyway, if there's any questions, I could tell you a lot more. I can talk. You know, what I do trainings of people who are qualified to become screeners for this. To be a screener, you have to have a teaching credential or be in a postgraduate study for of any kind of therapy. And to be a diagnostician, you have to have done quite a bit of screening. That's the first step. And you have to have a master's degree or a PhD in education, psychology, or related health fields. So, but I just love this work because I feel constantly that I'm helping. And I'm afraid I can only give scholarships to my clients. I'm in Northern California, and they come to me from all the way down to by Madeira, and they come from Reno and all around Northern. I used to travel all around Oregon and Nevada, but since I turned 80, I don't do the travel anymore. But I'm still testing away, and I'm not ready to retire for a while. And I'm always encouraging people. I train people on Zoom. So I train people from all over US, Canada, and Central America. Anyone, we can modify the time zone. So I've trained people who are 3 hours ahead of me and 3 hours in front, behind me. And they've had to adjust the time they came to my class. But it's a 2.5 day training. So it's quite intense. But anyway, questions. Are you putting them? I have 7 questions on chat, I think. So let me hear. Oh,
excellent. So as she goes there, right? So please, let's just give thank you very much for your time, Susan. Thank you. It was really great presentation. And so, any questions? So we open up for any questions that people have.
there's 7, but I can't.
Oh yeah, if you
People did hear Jasmine. She has a louder voice.